Hi.
Hello.
Don't listen to that guy. He didn't mean it.
It's a great day.
He didn't
I,
mean
on
hi?
the other hand, I mean it.
Jason's awesome.
Hi,
Jen's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm your boy. And Jen is nefarious at best.
Wow. Jen, you gonna take that from him?
Not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Nefarious at best. What's going on, everybody? Hello. How are you? Welcome to Friday. Friday?
It's Friday already.
Hail, Lady Commander Gentastic, Queen of all she surveys. They built a monument to her name. Long may she reign.
I go center.
She just waves. Hi. Burn the heretics. What was yesterday's?
I don't remember. I was trying to think of that, and I can't remember.
What was yesterday's?
Yesterday's what?
We were supposed to remember. She
Well,
read
because
something.
I was hoping that you would feel summoned. As I typed it, you were the person I thought of.
What's that?
You got to read the stream title.
You don't have to like it.
Happy Punsters Day. Oh, God.
It is National
So
Pun
give
Day.
Give us your best. I have my website that tells me all of the crazy holidays.
Oh, it was Battletech. It was filthy freeborn trash.
Oh yes,
Oh,
it was filthy
so
for
good.
trash. That's right.
Been dealing with the filthy freeborn trash. Yes. Correct.
So good.
Yes. I just love when we get Jen sound bites of her
Yeah.
saying very nerdy battle game stuff that she has literally no idea what she's talking about. And it comes across as the most innocent, happy, you know.
Filthy
I'm burning heretics.
Yeah, filthy heretics.
Filthy heretics. Let's burn them. Somebody ate all your mahogany? Well, you definitely have to buy more then. We should sell it in 6-packs. Right?
I'm not sure we should incentivize people to be eating their Procro. Jason.
Wait a minute, what? Wait, what?
Word of caution.
I don't understand. What's the problem?
Word of caution.
Wait a minute, what? What's the problem?
This is Baby J.
Maybe Jay doesn't know what he's talking about. Nobody listens to that guy.
Well,
Pushaw.
Pushaw.
I said it.
I just got pushawed.
I said it. Pushaw.
Oh my goodness.
Pushaw. Where's the stack of plastic cups? Did you steal them?
I did. Where did
Do you
they
just steal all my stuff all the time?
go?
Is that what you're doing?
Apparently.
You just steal my stuff?
I might have done that.
Where'd they go?
I don't
Did you
know.
use them all?
I might have, maybe.
Sack of crap.
Meant to replace them.
Well, did you? Oh, I see. Where would they be then?
I mean, I can. Not far away.
Need cups.
Slamicus said, "Did I tell you my house is haunted by a chicken?
You do
A
need cups.
poultrygeist,
Shoot.
a foul spirit, even."
You know what? I'm gonna go.
I
the
plan to
extra
call an
mile.
exorcist to help it
Okay, so-
cross to the other side.
No.
They're not paying attention,
get 'em.
Tel.
Don't
Very
clean them
sorry.
out. Don't
This is
give me ones that are
disappointing.
dirty.
Well, I have more at my house that I can bring.
Why do you have them at your house?
Well, they're not ours.
Did
I
you
have
take
some that I
mine and
own
put
at
them in
my
your
house.
house?
No.
Chat, do you see what I have to deal with?
I bought my own.
Well, you used mine. So technically you didn't buy your own. You bought refills for me. And then you left them at your house.
Well,
Jennifer,
fire me.
Don't know who she is.
tell chat we're hiring.
Sorry.
We'll give him a minute, Tel. He's distracted. We'll read it again. When he
I
gets
can
back.
clean these out. These work just. Oh, you do.
Don't
Okay.
touch my stuff.
I'm bring more back for you. And I'll make
Stop
sure.
touching my stuff.
And I'll make sure we get more ordered so we don't run out.
Stop touching my
Because
stuff.
we did run out.
All right, can I have everyone's attention, please?
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Telemachus said, "Did I tell you my house is haunted by a chicken,
What kind of chicken?
a poultrygeist, a foul spirit? Plans to call an exorcist to help it cross to the other side."
This answers a lot of questions.
There's a whole lot of things that just got resolved in that joke.
This answers a lot of questions I've had during my life.
Ghost Hunter, in reference to your tell chat we're hiring, Ghost Hunter said, I can paint on stream for hours at a time. It just won't be Jordan good. So.
You steal my stuff? You promise not to steal my stuff? You're hired.
Just picked up the other side thing. Cross. Why did it cross? I mean, that's Telemachus right there. That is peak Telemachus. That is exactly what we were hoping for today.
Why did the poultry
Nailed
geist
it
cross the road?
right in the first 8 minutes.
I love poultry geist.
It was good.
Spirit.
I would watch that movie.
Poltergeist.
The poultry geist.
Foul Spirit.
Foul spirits.
That one is my favorite.
Poltergeist 2, Foul Spirits.
All right, Vector has a serious question.
No, there's no such thing.
When you've poured a ton of inspiration into painting and you paint for like 2 hours a day after work for 2 months straight, and at the end of it you want to keep going but you just can't, what do you do?
Take a break.
If you want to keep going, then why do you say you can't if you want to? Maybe it's done.
Also, there's nothing wrong with taking a break.
Yeah.
Like, taking a break is okay.
I'm stuck on the want to keep going but can't, and I'm wondering if it's like just because there
Got
are
family in town,
other life obligations that are preventing you from, because that, what do you do there is you wait. Or convince someone to take care of all your errands so you. Or pig bacon, hello.
My note in that regard is always remember, you're the boss of you. You want to paint, you paint. Don't let nobody tell you different. We're having all the fun with black wash.
Are you in wash or douche?
Wash.
Or both? Or are you going to do both?
Wash.
Just wash.
Right now it's a wash.
I got you, Vector. So you want to keep going, but you're feeling like you're blocked, like you're not inspired.
Oh.
Okay. Paint Liquor suggests a palette cleanser. Absolutely. Something to take your mind off the big project, because sometimes there's a lot of pressure on big projects like that.
Genuinely.
It's also okay to take a weekend off.
Yeah, take a weekend off. Don't paint. Do some other stuff. Go touch some grass.
Yeah.
Go run around in the trees and nature, or not. But then you come back, you're refreshed. You haven't touched the model in a while, and you come back with a renewed sense of excitement about the project.
Please do not use the brush soap as a palette cleanser.
Yeah, don't do that. Please.
Wait, what?
It's not food.
Why not?
Jay said.
What?
Jay said no.
I didn't do anything.
Not for the
Don't
mouth
do
palette.
it.
For the paint palette.
They're not supposed to think about mouths like that.
What? We have a whole ad.
That tells people to what again?
Eat the paint.
Nope.
No.
Oh,
That's not what that
Sorry.
head says.
What did it say?
It says don't eat the paint.
What?
General Ginkgo said that he's had that before, put his hobby time to other interests for a while, and it usually comes back. That is true. Yes, but you won't like it. No, don't listen to Ghost Hunter. Don't eat the soap.
The soap's even worse. It doesn't even taste good.
What's everyone doing today? You made it to Friday.
I'm surprised Jen let that one slide.
She let that one slide.
Yeah.
What?
Jason didn't say anything.
I'm sure that if it was something that I was supposed to respond to, I'm sure I was not paying attention.
Didn't listen to us.
Okay.
I listen to you sometimes.
Very
not
selective
always.
listening.
To be
Jen.
fair, there's probably a lot of things that she shouldn't be listening to. That we
What?
Say.
How dare you?
We say a lot of dumb.
Everything we say is 100% listenable.
Jason, we say a lot of really dumb stuff.
120% listenable.
The soap does not have
No.
egg in it, no. See, the paint does taste good. Jordan says so. What?
That's not what I said.
I mean, he kind of said,
That's not what I said.
he kind of insinuated.
Well, I didn't literally say
He
it.
said, don't eat the soap. It doesn't even taste good. As
Correct.
if the other thing we tell you not to
Oh.
eat does taste
I
good.
see.
Jen just missed it.
See
It's
how
Why
that
it's
works?
better that I don't listen to them all the time. Vector said, thanks for the tip. I just probably need to touch grass. That is true.
Hey, you know
Just
what?
wanted to get rid of this
touching
pile
grass
of
helps a
shame
lot.
and have been pushing yourself too hard. There's no shame.
There
That's
shouldn't
the
be any
thing.
shame.
It's your hobby. It's
Mhm.
supposed to be fun.
I agree.
Yeah, don't push yourself to where it becomes work.
Yeah.
Because Jen makes the best point. It's intended to be fun.
You
Your
probably
hobby
already
has to
have
be
work.
something that allows you to get away and find a spot that kind of relaxes you in whatever way. You know, if you have to push for the finish line for a tournament army or something like that, or for a entry you're doing or a commission or whatever, that's one thing, but it still needs to remain some sort of enjoyable time. So just always find a
And
way.
like General Ginkgo said, the pile never goes away. It's a pile of potential.
Yeah.
A pile of creativity. Yeah, go outside a little bit.
That
run
sounds like a
around,
pile of spin doctoring to me, but
Enjoy the sun if it's sunny. I don't know what the weather's like where you are right now. If it's nice and you have a table outside, paint outside. Soap tastes soapy. Yes.
The thing that I've always found when it comes to burnout and project fatigue like that is, generally speaking, if you're not feeling it, as in like you're just like tired of painting and you need a break, you're generally not going to be doing your best work anyways. So try and do something different, whether it be paint something different, because you can paint something different and that's also fun, and come back to it later. Just I would say don't try to force yourself to be excited about something that you're not currently super excited about.
Ghost Hunter, is this a reference to the November challenge? Ghost Hunter said, you know what's not fun? Desaturating a paint color to make blends and contrasts. No fun at all.
yeah, it is. You shush.
Derpstick, we are not eating paint or soap. Route said, if it weren't for painting, I think I might go crazy. Stress of the mind is removed by work of the hands. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a really good way to put that, huh?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pile of dreams and smiles and little happy children frolicking through the grass.
All right, that's pushing it. But
My roadside miniature said, my pile of potential has achieved digital format. This frightens me a little.
with too many STLs, how many terabytes of STLs do you have now?
Yeah, the whole idea of the monthly challenge is to help you try new things that you wouldn't try on your own, and to be palate cleansers sometimes, if that's what you need.
Yeah, it took me a long time to kind of get comfortable with the idea of like, if I'm just really burnt out on a project, just take a minute, take a beat, just enjoy something else for a minute, and then eventually you'll come back and you'll have the excitement again, usually.
Papa Chicken, we have very different ideas of fun. Panic Bomb said, for me, it's not in the pile until the STL is printed.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. Technically, it doesn't count as shame or gain until it's
It's
printed
not
out.
something you can hold in your hand, then.
It's not real until I can put paint on it.
Yeah.
Roadside Touch coming up on my first full terabyte, but the list of
Oh,
I want to get
gosh.
this because I want to paint it keeps growing. That's because there's so many cool and creative things out there.
My buddy's trying to convince me to get a printer.
Don't do it.
Not a one of the spooled, what's it, FDM printers?
Mhm.
What they're called? Yeah.
You want you to get one of those?
He's trying to convince me to do it.
What in the world would you need an FDM printer for?
Terrain. So it's a really good way to get cool looking terrain.
And you'd use the terrain where?
For playing games.
Where do you go to play games that doesn't have terrain?
Maybe I want cool new terrain.
Oh, here we go.
I haven't decided to buy this thing yet.
Mom, can I have this terrain? We have terrain at home.
Vector said, for context, I'm painting a huge Necromunda table, and it looks amazing, but the final stretch is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to get beat up on a larger project, especially, right? To the point where, you know, you need to take a break and step back. One of the things that we talk about a lot that I do is, you know, try to find, like, if I'm doing Necromunda, maybe I just go away and, you know, listen to a 40K book, you know? Do something that keeps me involved in the world that I'm engaged with my painting at the time, when I'm not feeling, you know, lots and lots of inspiration. And then I'll go listen to a Space Marine, some bolter porn, you know, and then I'll get really jazzed about painting Space Marines again or something.
Panic Bomb said, but Baby J, the new Kill Team starter, has MDF terrain. Ghost Hunter said, I hear there are a lot of cheap printers on Facebook Marketplace because people are always upgrading to the new version.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was just telling me about a Black Friday sale. He's like, it's on sale. You can get it cheap. It's not that cheap.
That is not your friend.
The terrain at
Whoever
home
this
is
person
books,
is
soda cans,
not
playing
your
cards,
friend.
To be
etc.
fair, this friend happens to be a doctor, so his perspective on spending money is a little skewed.
Like I said, not your friend.
Bamboo Lab has some super affordable starter FDM printers.
I wonder what he was telling me to go buy. Who was that?
What Tomato
Route?
said.
Nice.
Well, Tomato said, I wanted to take advantage of the Bamboo Lab sale, but not in the cards, unfortunately. Ironically, because of cards. That's funny.
Because of cards?
Yeah.
Not in the cards because you bought Magic?
He bought cards, I think. This is just karma for Baby J teaching people to play Horus Heresy.
Not true.
Sort of true.
Hopefully not true.
I've diluted my Blackwash about 50-50 with water.
Oh no, Star Wars Unlimited, he said.
That new set did just go for pre-release.
Foundations?
Oh, no.
Oh, Star Wars.
Well, Foundations is this weekend.
Yeah.
There's like 5 different sets for various different games coming out within like literally 2 weeks of one another. It's crazy. Because there was a One Piece set that just came out this last week. And then there's also the Star Wars set that came out. And then also Foundations is coming out. And then also the new Jujutsu Kaisen Union Arena set's coming out.
Those aren't even real words.
And then also I think there's another set for something else coming out around the same time.
He's just making stuff up now.
You guys can look it up. It's all real.
Jujutsu.
Jujutsu Kaisen
Here we go.
It's a television show.
Oh, I know. Sailor Moon in it?
No.
You sure?
Maybe.
What about Hello Kitty?
That one's definitely there. You know what we can get excited about, though?
What's that?
New Arcane. Comes out. Starts airing in like a couple of days. I think.
Thursday? I thought it was...
Like
Is
the
it
9th,
this weekend?
right? I think it's the 9th.
Somebody was just mentioning it was...
Oh, which would be Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Because today's 8th. That's cool. Also,
These
apparently-
words are about as real as Baby J's legs.
Well,
People are making stuff
those are
up.
pretty real.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu. Jujitsu.
See, Jen, nothing he says is real. He's just making stuff up.
Jujutsu.
He's just making stuff up.
Jujutsu Kaisen. You know me, just making stuff up constantly.
Making stuff up. Jordan, we're already your friends. You don't have to make up crazy fake anime television names to impress us.
What are you talking about? I'm all about all these.
Excuse you? Feeling alright? Having a stroke?
I'm having a great day. I know it sounds an awful lot like I'm having a stroke. I'm having a great day. Don't worry, Wad Tomato. I also not super wow, English. Hello. I am also not a huge fan of Magic these days. Although, I am thinking of still going and hanging out with the crew and doing a pre-release this weekend. Because even though I may not be the biggest Magic nerd around, I like hanging out with our people because they're good people. So, there you go. What have you got planned for this weekend, Jason? Anything fun?
And dragging me some show.
We're going to see Tom Segura tomorrow. I just got tickets.
Oh, that sounds like a blast. That's got to be a good time, Jason. Sounds like a good
It's gonna
time.
be fun.
Jen's like, I'm excited about it. Are you not a big comedy guy, Jason?
Yeah, we went and saw Dave Chappelle there, and it was fun. It was not like Chappelle was not very good.
Yeah, you said it was like a weird. He was like trying out new bits that just like weren't great or something.
It just didn't. It felt like he didn't care.
Ah.
There were some really good parts to it,
but Chris Rock was great.
Chris Rock was good.
It was Chris Rock's first tour after the slap.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh,
so it
geez.
was fun because we got to hear his whole bit on the
that's
Will
awesome.
Smith thing
And
before that hit prime
it's
time.
the same. It's the one that's on Netflix, basically. The Chris Rock.
Yeah, it was
most
that-
recent
pretty much
Oh,
that
it's
Netflix
same
show.
bit.
his
A little bit of
basically the
difference,
same,
but
yeah.
mostly that same bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Segura.
I like Tom Segura. Funny guy.
Don't believe it's Japanese.
Oh, that is a pretty funny.
What's that?
There's a bit that he does about him going to like a hotel or something, and this like I don't know if it
Oh,
was
they
like
think he's Japanese because of his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you Japanese? He's like
Fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, he's
something about that.
He's
Yeah.
Spanish.
It's a great bit. It's been a while since I've heard it, but it's really funny.
He did a show here.
His
once.
whole bit about how Spanish people are white was pretty funny.
Well,
Yeah.
Because he was like, "What did you expect?" And he speaks fluent Spanish.
He did a whole show once in Phoenix in Spanish.
in Spanish.
Did he really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, he's crazy. Jordan knows who Tom Segura is? What? He hates comedy. He does.
You know
Jordan
what's-
hates anything that's funny.
You know what's funny is I actually like comedy.
Like
I
stand-up
don't
comedy.
like comedy movies.
Yeah. So you like stand-up comedy?
I like
Yeah.
stand-up comedy. Yeah. And it's, let me clarify. It's not that I don't like comedy movies.
They're not your first choice.
They're definitely not my first choice. Some of them are hilarious. Others I'm just like, this is so dumb.
Cordell, what's going on? I'm waiting for wash to dry so that I can add more wash.
Game delay. You don't love puns? Today's not your day. I'm sure that on the calendar there is a I don't like puns day.
No.
That's gonna be. your day.
Jason, look, if today has 15 holidays
There were
and
15
it's-
today.
and there's a Friday,
15?
yeah, trust me, there's a day where it's National I Don't Like Whatever Day. That exists.
No, they usually don't make those for the negative ones. It's usually only I'm celebrating donuts, not to hell with donuts day.
That's it. That is fair.
Yeah, the route, I'm with you. A lot of the good 80s and 90s comedies I'm down with. The newer ones, not so much.
Eddie Murphy Raw. Eternal classic.
Kicked him into ding ding.
I don't think I've actually ever seen any Eddie Murphy comedy.
Why Tom's like, I like stand-up comedy. Who's George Carlin? Seems sus. Jordan is nothing if not sus.
What? I am.
I'm just
Not
saying.
at
I'm just
all.
stating truths over here. Don't kill the messenger.
I'm not going to kill the messenger.
Avian, hello.
Hi, Avian.
Friday.
Baby J is now being deliberate.
Whoa, hold on.
Hot dog day and pun day are days that should be relished.
There you go. See?
Ta-da! 4 pig bacon, everybody. That was actually pretty good.
Would rich gold desaturate if I added black or white paint?
Yes. Yeah, it'll start graying out if you add black, and it'll brighten for a bit and then just start turning into white, or like bright, yellowish as you go into the white.
Beverly Hills Cop, Jordan?
Haven't seen it.
Nope.
It was definitely like one of those things where I would have to be into that kind of stuff to have watched it outside of the normal time that it was super like pop culture-y.
Well, it's before you were born, so.
Correct. Yeah. That sort of stuff you have to like be into to watch, or have
Yeah.
like your parents be into. Or,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was just not around any of that. As much as I love my parents are pretty dry people.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess with older movies, it definitely is based on what your parents put on for you
Yeah.
to watch. Like
Like-
Ruben. Ruben and his girls watch like 80s movies.
Yes.
A lot. They do that
Yep.
during the summer and stuff.
And like,
And like Brenna, her parents.
yeah.
They watch all the movies. that-
Mm-hmm.
Game Dilly
Yeah,
says,
we
if I'm
grew
ever
up
going
with.
into battle, Jason, I'm buying a box of Krispy Kreme so that when I'm masked where I'm going, I can say, to hell with donuts. It'll be a good day. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dad only really introduced me to, like, Star Trek,
Okay.
and weirdly enough, only really the movies. We never watched any of the TV show at all, which is kind of weird in hindsight. But,
Derelictor. Weekend at Bernie's.
That's a great movie.
I was going to say, that's definitely up Jen's alley.
Eddie Murphy Raw best babysitter movie? I don't understand.
Like to watch while you're babysitting?
Maybe.
Is that what we mean?
I feel like I probably watched it while I was babysitting.
I like to hell with donuts. To hell, comma, with donuts. Punctuation
Yeah.
and accent are important.
mm-hmm.
Where are you going? To
Oh,
hell.
you put you put Raw on. Sit the kids in front of it. That's the babysitter.
Oh, also true.
Referencing what your parents showed you. I gotcha.
Adventures in Babysitting. Probably not a popular opinion, but all of Bill Cosby's old stuff is
Yeah.
tremendous.
Yeah. Bill Cosby himself was good.
That is great. Gives us chocolate cake. Mom had you watching Andy Griffith, and Dad had me watching Rat Patrol and Combat. And same here, buddy. Rat Patrol all the way.
I don't know what Rat Patrol and Combat are.
Rat Patrol was like North Africa. It was based on like the SAS, British Special Air Forces that were, or Special Air Service that were in these jeeps and would hunt down. They would do reconnaissance out in the desert back in World War II. Chocolate cake is nutritious. Yes.
I mean, it's got eggs.
Black Sheep Squadron and 2. Yeah, Black Sheep. They were on an island in the Pacific, weren't they? They were part of the Pacific War. Black Sheep Squadron.
Those are
Bunch of
things I don't know.
fought F4U.
My mom liked Star Trek TV show, but I could not stand it.
Mm.
I did not like it when Star Trek came on. Hogan's Heroes, great show.
Yeah, I think they flew Corsairs, and I think that was it, right? For Black Sheep Squadron, a bunch of Corsairs. Were they flying tigers? The best babysitting movies are the Miyazaki movies. Not for the kids.
Depends on the Miyazaki movie, but yeah.
Troll, I like the way you think.
I guess Spirited Away, and it's one of his, right?
Yeah.
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 I guess those are good.
Chocolate
I mean,
is
I
a
would say
bean.
even Spirited Away is a little on the line.
Beans are vegetables or fruit. Chocolate
got some
is
crazy
one of
stuff
your
in it.
5 a day.
Kiki's Delivery Service is fine.
Yeah, Pappy was flying tigers, but I think in the show they only had Corsairs, if I remember right. Which was odd to have Corsairs on a ground base, but whatever. You do your TV show the way you want to. Chocolate is a bean. Beans are vegetables and fruit. Chocolate is one of your 5 a day. I mean, I'm with you. The cocoa bean, technically a best bean.
Yep.
It's wholesome for... I can see how for a lot of kids it would be scary.
So, like, The Last Unicorn used to freak my sisters out because the evil witch was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Even though in animated form it didn't seem so, it was really, like, nightmare-inducing for
Yeah.
kids, even though it was a kid's show.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, the opening part of that movie is that this girl is with her parents, turns around, and their parents get turned into big pigs, and everything starts going creepy and weird, and...
How many times did I put The
Scary.
Last Unicorn on? You mean how many times have I watched it in my life? I've seen The Last Unicorn more times than I care to admit. Troll hole science in it. Time Bandits was very dark too. Yep. Yeah, but Time Bandits is a Terry Gilliam flick. And I don't think Terry Gilliam's ever made a kid's flick. Even though they might market it as such, I don't think I'd be taking Terry Gilliam films to my kids. Put it on to Trauma Dump Your Sisters. Yes. All the time. That and The Dark Crystal was also scary for them. They'd put their hands over their eyes at certain parts. Because the Skeksis were pretty brutal for a Tim Henson movie. Return to Oz. I don't know it. I probably, if I saw it, I would remember it. I've seen some of the real sketchy later Wizard of Oz wannabe stuff. Brazil is perfectly fine for children. Yes, all the plastic surgery parts, especially. Yeah, Brazil is one of my favorite flicks. It ranks up there for me with like Apocalypse Now, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Brazil is insane. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen is pretty amazing too. Not up there with Brazil, but it's still good. Just go and put all the Monty Python based movies on for your kids.
I don't think they'd get it.
Yeah. It has some funny stuff in like.
I watched it when I was younger, and I didn't get it.
You're not really going to put like Life of Brian on for kids. They're not going to understand it. A Fish Called Wanda. That has nakedness in it. You can't put that on for your kids. Builds character. Legend, Time Bandits,
tell 'em to cover
Kroll,
their eyes.
Conan, Sword and the Sorcerer. You turned out fine. Just a couple of minor twitches. Kroll was a great flick that I still have a hard time finding to watch. Like, every now and then it comes on and I don't take the time to watch it, and then it goes away again. Legend is amazing. It's still just a fantastic movie. It survived the test of time fairly well. But then you see Tom Cruise at like super young Tom Cruise is pretty funny in a fantasy movie.
That is pretty weird, actually. Tom Cruise in a fantasy movie to begin with is weird. Young Tom Cruise in a fantasy movie is even weirder.
Yeah, definitely Blazing Saddles, Ghost Hunter. When somebody on the roadside said anything Mel Brooks, I was like, let's put on Blazing Saddles.
Sor said, "This is what blows my mind with the U.S. and movies. Nakedness isn't okay for kids, but intense violence is."
Ultra violence, you got it.
Totally. That's like I've
You got
told this story before. I'm sure that my friend, when her kid was, what was he, maybe 10 or 11, she asked about Walking Dead. She's like, he wants to watch The Walking Dead. She knew I watched it, and she's like, is it okay for him? And I was like, it's extremely violent. Like, they kill people very graphically in every episode. And she's like, I mean, but is there nudity? And I'm like, no. But again, very, very violent. She's like, oh, it's fine as long as there's no nudity. I'm like, hey, listen.
That's weird.
The internet exists. He has seen nudity. She's like, yeah, but if I don't know about it, it's okay.
What? Whoa. Whoa. Hold on. Hold on now. Those are some blinders you're putting on there.
It was really funny. I'm like, all right.
Well, I had the same conversation with this same exact woman Jen is talking about letting her young child play Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my gosh.
When what he was doing was stealing cars and punching hookers.
Jeez.
And mom's like, isn't it cute? I'm like, no, not really. He spent a fair time with Declan Mulholland, the guy who played the human version of Jabba that got cut. His costume in episode 4 was the exact same costume he wore as a bandit in Hawk the Slayer. Oh, really? Yeah, seeing those outtakes where they have him walking in the in the hangar bay, or not hangar bay, but the outdoor facility where the Millennium Falcon was, are pretty crazy. When the Hutt is just a dude.
Yep. So weird.
I'm glad they made it into what it was, but
Flapjack, I think he was watching it like on Netflix or something, so she probably didn't register that it was a TV show that was on like basic cable.
is there nudity on a network TV show? Once those bits get cured, your first 500 points of Space Wolves using Daka Store proxies will be done. Nice. All right, next color is Flesh Wash. Flesh Wash.
Yeah, they can definitely show naked male butts on regular TV.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
I probably ought to put at least a squirt of water in here.
It's nothing. I don't. I'm reading Flapjack Nickelsack's comment, and Flapjack is saying that he has a naked male butt sometimes.
He has what?
A naked male butt sometimes. They said that they sometimes show naked male butts on TV. Game Delay said he just told a client on the phone that he visited her city of Columbus in June. She asked if it was for a conference. Which one? And I told her. I don't think she was prepared for the nerdiness. No one ever is.
It's like, what?
Sorry, they do what now?
I must not have heard you right.
And how many people are there?
For the Flesh Wash, you can see I'm not doing anything that is on entire surfaces. So I'm using a much smaller brush, and we're just going into cracks and crevices and along panel lines. So where I've got a indent or something like that in between the toes. Just to give the hint of dirt buildup and such. Rust, if you want.
You know what I need to do this weekend? I need to catch up on Tulsa King.
Season 2. Season 2 definitely not as good as Season 1, only because it feels like they're kind of cutting corners on storytelling a bit. Season 1 was really good and cinematic, and Season 2 tends to have things be very flash in the pan.
Yeah.
You know, for the sake of popularity. Like they had Jelly Roll on to do one verse of a song, felt really weird and rushed. Like that was just a, you know, all we can afford is this one little bit, but we want to get a celebrity on for some unknown reason. So there's some weirdness to it like that, but it's still really good. The story is constantly building up with people that you know are going to be very bad for him.
Happy birthday, Route.
Route? It's your birthday?
So it is my birthday, so I'll be going out to eat and then making my family play Shatterpoint and Age of Anger with me. Oh, I like that.
Nice.
Age of Anger. That's
Happy birthday,
all.
Mr. President.
Well, you have a good weekend. Enjoy. That sounds like lots of fun. Again, happy birthday from all of us. And have a good weekend.
Indeed.
See you next time.
Birthday. See you soon.
Kruger has a question. Why don't we have our names in the bio? I don't know.
What do you mean?
We don't have our names anywhere here.
What bio?
Like on the Twitch page, I assume.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, you haven't touched it in years, I'm sure. But it probably shows the stream schedule.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see if we can get that
Yeah, so
changed, I guess.
Suppose we'll take a look at that then.
I don't know. Is that important?
I don't think it's too big of a deal to adjust. I would hope so, at least.
So Kruger on the left is Jason, on the right is Jordan, and I'm Jen.
Hi.
And you can see it.
But Halcon at the moment in our booth just wanted to pop in and say, hello, Guardians.
Hello.
How are you guys doing? Of our new Monumentals.
What is Halcon?
It's
Where, maybe, is better. I assume it's a con of some sort.
yeah, so
That's in the name.
they do a lot of so they do a live stream where they stream painting and games and stuff like that, and hobby stuff, but they also do a lot of like mental health awareness stuff at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
So they promote all of that at the same time that they do hobby stuff, and they use it as a way to teach people about, you know, how to take care of themselves, which is great.
Nice.
So we've been talking with them back and forth, which is great. They're super nice people. Nice to bring them on board. So check them out. See when they go live. And give them a good old hello from us.
Kruger then has a question for Jason. Because you've been painting for so long. Do you paint by memory, or are you still using and learning new techniques?
I mean, there's something to learn every model. I will say that I have a different view of art now. Art is more of a, how to put this, kind of more of a fun exploratory journey for me. So I tend to learn a lot, but I teach it to myself by just going crazy with paint and doing neat new things. You know, because I've learned, if the one thing that I have as a big takeaway for painting for so long is I'm not afraid of paint anymore. There's nothing that I won't try, because the end game is that what if I were to mess up this model right now? Who cares? I can repaint it, right? So being able to have fun and explore with paint, you know, be a child again, so to speak, you know, really be able to attack things with fun in mind is my biggest thing. And so if you can do that, then yeah, my mind, you know, gets opened up all the time and I get to learn new stuff, but not in a sense of going out and like reading books to find new stuff to learn. Does that make sense? For me, it all comes from just, you know, having fun and playing with paint. You know, one of the best things about Pro Acryl is that it is a paint that allows us to do that, because it acts like paint should act. Look at that. That's looking really good. It's a big change from just the really rough metal that I did. Now we're starting to get some really good detailing, and all of this is super simple. I'm not doing anything that you guys can't do very, very fast. Some watered down wash, and remember that things like wash can still be used as, you know, paint.
So when you see the model and you have the vision, you have to do rest. You just know that you have to use flesh wash because you've done this before? Or were you thinking that flesh wash will turn it nicely into rust?
So this technique in particular we did before, and it was when we released the washes, and I was showing people what you can do with washes and how you can use. I think I used glazed wash medium and burnt sienna to do it, and then the question came up: could you just use something like flesh wash? And I was like, yeah, you definitely could. And so we did a model that way. It when you have a color that is in the right spectrum for what you're trying to do, then like I said, just play with it and see what you can make happen. Something like this is really, really simple, and there's no harm in giving it a shot. And then when it works, and you're like, okay, great. But I have done tons of this before where I paint with a wash, use a wash as a more traditional paint, and you'll get really good results out of it. Use this as a way to do some grease or oil drips. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for just thinking in terms of, wow, what if I do this? What's that going to look like? And sometimes it works. The more you do it, the more you take those risks and learn the results, the more risks you'll take. And then you just grow into where you're, like I said, you're just not really afraid of painting. You stop wondering what color and stop over analyzing and just grab paint and throw it on the model. And if you don't like it, change it into something else. But that doesn't happen overnight. You need to build your confidence in those abilities to just start slopping paint around.
May not know everything right out of the gate, but we know how to interpret the things that are happening, and the understanding of light and color is key, because then you can mess around with it.
With something like flesh wash, the funny part is that you got to give it a name, right? And so we call it flesh wash because that's what it was built for, as a very quick way to give you some good coloring to skin tones if you're painting quick. But in reality, the color can be used for all sorts of stuff. Dirt and rust, like you're seeing here, is a real big thing that you can create real quick in the recesses, along with the black wash first is as big of a component here, though. So, and by diluting the flesh wash, you'll see that when I put it on, you get a lot of that orange color. But when it dries, because of the dilution, it starts to give me a much more faded result. And because of how our washes are, right, it blends out instantaneously, so you don't get a lot of coffee staining and such. It has a much more natural faded look to it. So this becomes a very quick technique for making metal, dirty robotic innards metal work really well.
James, he does not have like a gallery posted other than most of what's on our Instagram, but that's not even really accurate anymore, because like all the shorts and stuff are stuff that Jordan's painting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yeah. James Matthias asked if you had a gallery of models that you've painted that they could look at online somewhere.
Funny, I've been asked for years to put all of my stuff together in a viewable format, coffee table book kind of thing, and I just never have.
Super duper John and T Schmid, hello. Jason's Gallery is this YouTube channel. What else do you recommend using flesh wash?
Flesh? I mean, obviously, what it's used for on the tin, right? Using it on skin tones is great. Using it as a way to help define subtle shapes in skin without adding too much harsh, dark lines to it is a really good one. But like Jason said, it can be used for so many different things outside of that. You can anything that you want to add a little bit of warmth to. You can use, a little bit of glaze or a little bit of the wash to change up.
Game delay, he's not here today.
Who's that?
Christopher.
Hey, Chris hurt his back.
Yeah, poor guy.
I think he just wanted a weekend to play video games.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Hopefully he's not watching this because Chris will get all bent out of shape. Not, I mean, he'll be like, I swear I wasn't. I always give the guys grief when they take off like a Friday. Like, yeah.
And we said the the YouTube and Twitch, that was all in jest. Obviously, you're not going to go through and look at every single video just to see the models. But no, he does not have an online guide. Isn't he already bent out of shape if his back is shot?
Yes, also true.
That's actually hilarious.
Good point.
There you go. Punsters Day.
Yep.
Get that man a lighter camera.
Also true.
Kruger said, when I painted for the first time, I was straight washed my entire miniature, and I was so happy with the result. I mean, you made it, so you should be happy.
Wash is a magical tool.
Yeah, washes
It
and
is.
dry brushing and all of these components that, techniques that we can use in our toolbox are great, especially the first time you find out. Like people when they first dry brush something, watching people's eyes light up,
They're
it's
like,
like,
oh my
God.
God. Cool.
And why is that? Well, it's because it's the first time you've gotten instantaneous contrast on a model.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you can't tell me that that's a bad technique when I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people over the years eyes light up the first time they do it, and they're like, oh my God, why did I not know about this?
Recognized imposter said, see what skipping around the office gets you. Back pain.
Also true. Freaking guys. Although it was Gabe who said he could, was the super skipper.
Yeah.
Christopher's a super skipper?
No, Gabe was Gabe.
Gabe is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gabe's just trying really hard. He wants to be the skipping champion of the world.
I don't know if I'd go that far. He does want to cut all the wood, though.
How much time do the washes need to dry before they can be painted again?
Well, I mean, like you've seen here with the black wash going on, we gave it 5 or 10 minutes after working on it.
Gabe, you said you could skip really well. Someone suggested that maybe Christopher hurt himself from skipping yesterday. But all of these pro painters try to get away from washes and dry brushing. You do you.
It's so the
Look at
reason.
Jason. He's using a wash right now. What are we talking about?
So let me clarify a little bit of all of the get away from washes and dry brushing. So
And while we're at it,
I'm just.
synthetic brushes are just as good as sables.
Oh yeah. Also yes. I think the big thing for painters that go from using washes and dry brushes a lot to learn, they're in search of different techniques and different ways of painting miniatures that don't involve those as a I don't want to necessarily say shortcut, but it is, and oftentimes the simplistic use of that tool, right, as we call it, um, is very simple and easy to use. And when people are looking for the next stage, right, they want to go, okay, well, what if I tried to replicate similar effects by painting it all by hand? And it's like figuring out how to do that, what the process is for achieving that result, and spending time learning that. That's why I think people, quote unquote, try and get away from washes and dry brushing. But people should never forget that those are great tools that they can and should be using for various different techniques. And I think that's where people fall away from using them. Is they're like, oh, well, I'll just use these better tools. And it's like, well, it's not about being better, it's about being different. And these tools do very specific things that are useful. I dry brush all the time. I also use washes all the time.
It's more about that feeling of these are techniques that are good for new painters. And when you want to no longer feel like a new painter and like you've elevated your skill, a lot of people will try to move away from the tools. They're the training wheels of our world. And when you're learning to paint, you have the training wheels on. And then a lot of painters think that, well, you shouldn't use the training wheels anymore. And that's the absolute wrong analogy, because they're just tools that you're using in various ways that you can also find other resources, like Jordan's saying, to do better in most cases. But that doesn't mean that those tools themselves are bad. You know, when you buy your first table saw, you don't throw out your hand saw. Only an idiot throws out his hand saw. The hand saw was the training wheel's way to cut wood until you could get the table saw and afford it and learn how to use it and be safe around it. But if you throw out your hand saw, you're an idiot.
Turns out, still things you need your handsaw for.
And the hand saws of our world in that regard are things that are the beginner tools that are also very, very good for all sorts of things, like what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, using the right tool in the right way at the right time will get you fantastic results no matter what level of painter you are.
In fact, the better painter you are, the more you're going to get use out of that tool. That tool is more flexible the more experience that you have.
Find more ways to use it. But right now I'm using a wash as more of a glaze. And so people would be like, oh, of course that tool works that way. It's built for that. But a lot of people would be like, I don't use washes. And they'll be doing it just for the ability to say they don't use kids' tools is really what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's very short-sighted.
Delay said, I bet you could prove which is better by making a brush that has one side sable and one side synthetic, but that might just be splitting hairs.
Oh, he's really stretching now.
It's pun day.
He's really stretching.
I gotta give him credit. That wasn't terrible.
It's good.
Really stretching it now.
A steak pun is a rare medium. Well done. We've seen those. And the small, medium, at large.
Yeah, the small, medium, at large.
Kruger said, what will happen if I use a wash with an airbrush?
It won't pool the same way, but it's a great filter, right? It still has the lowered opacity, so you can put it through the airbrush and get a nice filtering. Like if I were to take this flesh wash and spray it over this entire model, I would get a dirty, rust-colored filter over all the colors of the model, which could be neat. Not what I'm going for here, so I'm not going to do that, but, definitely a choice that you have. It's not something I find myself doing very often because I typically am working with specific colors that I want to filter through the airbrush. So I'll have a more defined plan, but doesn't mean you can't.
Game delay. Jordan and I liked it. Jason's a very, very tough critic.
What did we like?
The splitting hairs.
Oh yeah, it was good. That was a good joke. Good joke.
It was a thing.
It was a thing.
This just gives us a really neat look. It doesn't take a lot of time. The only real awkward thing about doing this is that the wash does take longer to dry than a normal paint product. And so you got to make sure you don't get your hands and fingers into the wet wash material if you can avoid it.
Trollhole said, I got a table saw 6 years ago. I threw my handsaw, all my kitchen knives, and even scissors out. I make cheese sandwiches on my table saw now. I even cut my hair last week. Brilliant.
There's always one.
And
There's-
I like it.
There's always one.
There's always one.
That one.
There's one in every group. I'm not the boss of me. I'm throwing away all my cutting tools.
Kruger said, is there any color paint that can't be used with an airbrush?
Any color paint? That I would say no. Types of paint? Yeah. You don't want to really, go willy-nilly spraying. But I mean, I guess you could put any paint through the airbrush, but
Paw Master Hamish Lupercat. Thank you for the follow.
Paw,
That's awesome.
Paw Master Hamish Lupercat. The
I love it.
best. That's great.
I love it.
We got followed by
For
Fat
sure.
Val Kilmer yesterday.
What?
We got followed by somebody called Fat Val Kilmer.
I didn't notice that one.
That's awesome. Oh, so good.
Flat paint can't be used through the airbrush yet.
Yet. Give us time.
Troll used his one cutting tool to cut his hair. The inside of his head was the last thing the table saw.
Oh my. Oh my goodness.
Game Delay, who said he doesn't like puns.
Just throwing them out.
Monument heavy whites would have a hard time getting through an airbrush.
Yeah, by the time you dilute them down, you might as well just use the other whites, right?
Yeah.
And that's true of any heavy body paint. You can use them, but there's better selections, because you've got paints that are already diluted in liquid form that would work better for you. So that's why I'm prone to say no. There's not really, a color or a paint that you can't use in the airbrush with enough effort, but some take more effort than it's worth.
I'm not doing this because I like it. Bob Chicken said this might just be the single best Monument Hobby stream of all time. These
What?
puns are fire.
Uh-oh.
What about paints with brocade? I also tried the airbrush
Brocade.
before. It separated the glitter elements and the effect was quite bad.
Okay, paints with solids in them, probably not a good idea. Even metallics wind up they spray differently, right? They cause a percentage of sputtering because you have a physical component in the paint, whether it's, glitter like you're talking about, or metal flake, or, things like that. I would not try to spray those things. If you do, you need to have a very large nozzle aperture to work with. So yeah, if we're including those, I'm not considering that because, I'm not going to spray, like glue out of my airbrush.
What?
I'm not going to take the stuff that they glitter paint sweaters with and spray it out of my airbrush.
That sounds like such a great deal, Jason.
I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid.
Puffy paint through an airbrush. I'm gonna make the best grandma sweatshirts.
Bedazzling with an airbrush.
I used to make my grandma sweatshirts actually with puffy paint and like iron-on design kind of thing.
Yeah.
She loved them. She thought they were the greatest. I give her one every year for Christmas.
That's awesome.
For years.
Oh man, staring my eyeballs at this silver. That metal's looking good, Jason.
Right? For being Wish.com non-metallic metal.
It's that. It really is the combination of the black wash and the flesh wash that's there.
Well, and if you remember, right, the steps to get the gray on are really flimsy, right? You're just smacking paint on.
Oh, totally.
And it's the wash that blends it all together and makes it look cohesive. And I'm not even really, I'm just smacking the wash on there. You know, our washes are so good that I can speckle them on in areas and they'll blend up surfaces and stuff like that. They don't look like, coffee stains like other washes will. They actually do blend as they dry.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you really good availability to do. I love it on the undercarriage stuff like this. Like I showed off the Dreadnought yesterday. It just really works so well when you're doing that you're doing a night tighten. This would be the way I do all the metal on the leg joints and the hips and arms and stuff for a night tighten.
Does gloss varnish can gloss varnish be used with an airbrush?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We make a gloss varnish that you can spray. Meant for that.
Ooh, shiny. Are there 2 robots in that model, Baby J? Nope, only 1. I have 2 robots here. But no, this one is blue tack off. This one just belongs right here. So I'm just mostly getting it prepped. I should start painting the inside here soon so that I can finish that up so I don't have to paint it. And I can just glue this thing on. Speaking of, I think I'm just going to do that.
When the matte varnish releases, you need to put freaking finally on the label.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
That's already on khaki.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. I forgot about that.
That's the Easter egg on khaki.
Kruger, we are here for questions. Don't say that. Kruger has another question.
Yeah, definitely.
How would you paint a sandworm from Dune?
Ooh.
Sandy. I'm just kidding.
Believe it or not, I would do it like I did the rhino flesh on our solar-powered railgun rhino. Give me a second. I think that guy's in here someplace.
Yeah, I think he's just to your right. circle. Unless Gabe hit him after our
I don't think so.
last session.
Yeah, I think gray would be my starting base. Kind of like I'm doing this metal right here, believe it or not. You know, when you watch us do particular things that we're doing for, you know, like this material of metal, you know, rusty, kind of dirty metal on this Timberwolf, these same colors and tools can be used to do all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah, all right. I mean, at first thought, I like something like this, you know, where you do kind of a gray and then work up to a more fleshy color on the top. And then I use the same flesh wash in the recesses, right, to give that orange glow almost. The, you know, so it's almost exactly the same colors that I'm using for this metal. Right, if I hold them next to each other, you'll see. Right? Just instead of the bright neutral gray that I use for the shine on the metal, I used red gray, I think. Kind of a more fleshy tone to dry brush over the top of the rhino skin because it had a rough hide.
It looks like red gray.
I think it's red gray. But everything else is the same, all the warm grays. And then the flesh wash in the recesses that gives it that kind of dirty, right? It's exactly the same.
Yep.
How did you blend the wash? Mine always stays as oil spots.
Are you using our washes? Or are you using somebody else's washes? Well, there you go. There's your answer. So, you know, we say around here, and we mean it 100%. We won't make a product if we won't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for us to use a wash, it has to be able to do what you see me doing here. And you see me just kind of smacking it on and painting in between the lines, but I'm not cleaning the lines up. And look at that. Look at the blending I'm getting out of that just from it naturally drying, right? That tarnished metal look is just it kind of, I mean, look, there's a good source. There's a big wet spot right there that if you did that with anybody else's wash, that would be like a circle of color. But when we continue to watch how that dries, it won't be.
Our washes are incredible.
Right? And this is thinned about 50-50. Well, when this one's not thinned as much as the black was. The black was thinned down about 50-50 with water. This has not been. Right? And you can see how I get those really cool kind of rusty blends up into the gray. I mean, that looks like dirty, you know, junkyard metal. And the cool bit's about to happen where I go back and I hit it with the bright neutral gray again to pop some of those highlights. Yeah, really nice blending with no tie lines, Scale. Definitely. That was the purpose, because I don't use washes as all over washes very often. It's just not how I paint, right? I guess I'm zoomed way in, huh? But I use washes as a tool, like we just talked about, to get coloring very easily onto models. The way it flows in the cracks here is helping me a lot. Rather than having to paint like a rust color down this entire line, I can just kind of touch the brush in there and it's going to pool up in the deep recesses between these panels and blend backwards to where my brush stroke started by the time I'm done. And I don't even have to worry about getting a little outside the lines because the way the paint blends is just perfect. It lets me be, you know, a little less perfect as I guide paint around, which I find to be super helpful for new painters. You can even paint it on flat surfaces, like I've been doing. Now the key with painting on washes and getting that blend is like if I'm doing it on one of these flat panels, like if you're doing it on the side of a tank, is always bring your brushstroke where you want that rust color to be. So I'm starting up here, stopping down here, right? I'm never taking my brushstroke bottom to top. It's always top to bottom because then it lets the paint blend from up top where it's thinner into the pile of pigment down below. See how there's that more water you can see down at the bottom and it's already thin and drying up top? That will take the pigment in equal amounts and do the same thing. So just make sure with the wash you treat it like any glaze that you're doing, and your brushstroke direction always starts from away from the area where you want the paint and ends where you want the paint. Brush control is one of the biggest things with any technique of painting.
Dazen said, make a color called Junkyard Metal.
I just did.
I just did.
Scale Model Craft said, that's what I noticed last week. Really nice blending with no tide lines.
Yep.
Does it have to do with how fine your pigments are?
Well, I mean, our pigments are super fine anyway. We don't change it for the washes, so that's probably part of it. But in reality, it's just the way we built the washes, right? The way the pigment is carried in the wash evenly, as opposed to just, going to the end of the brushstroke and pooling that surface tension, pulling it down to one droplet. Ours leaves a sheen of color behind it. So if you have 100% pigment, by the time you get to the end of the brushstroke, you got 50, and 50% is left as a gradient behind it. Make sense? As opposed to with other washes, it pools along your brushstroke and all winds up at the end and doesn't leave as much filter behind. So if you make 100% of a black wash from somebody else, 90 or 95% winds up at the end where it pools, and then you have too much paint and it tide stains and does all the blotchy, and when you try to remove it, it's really rubbery and tears, and there's not much left behind. With ours, it's naturally going to filter about half of your pigment and leave the rest of it at the end, so you get a nice blend. Yeah, see, like that spot on top has dried now, and it doesn't give us like a big, bulky orange spot. It just gives us a nice blend over the top of that hatch or whatever that is.
Dries good. Nice and matte. Even when it's pulled up a little bit more.
It's funny because in certain areas, because of the little bit of sheen of the wash, it's not gloss by any means, but it looks like metallic paint almost.
Yeah.
In some areas.
I mean, that's one of the lovely things about this recipe, right? Is that it does replicate it so well in so many different ways.
Magnesium is one of our best metallic colors by far. Magnesium and the bronzes are my faves. Kruger asks, what's the most weird thing you've ever painted? I mean, everything we paint is weird. So that's a tough one. Weird for me would be, what have I painted that steps very far outside my comfort zone, right? Or is not something I would normally have painted, maybe. I don't really have a good answer for you on that. The pink bear. Not something I would have picked up and painted, but I don't know that it's weird. I don't know. Interesting question. Like I said, in fantasy and sci-fi, everything's so odd that I don't know that there's anything weird. The weirdest things we paint are the ones that would be like if I just painted a cowboy.
Yeah, just painted it normal.
Just a dude,
yeah.
Like a dude in a suit. That would probably be the weirdest
This is
thing.
like a guy in a suit.
Just a guy in a suit. Am I going to have hot gun barrels? They're lasers, so I don't know that they do that, right? The Timberwolf doesn't have anything like that, except for I could do smoke, soot on the missile launchers for sure. But these are all lasers. 2 large and 2 medium lasers, I think.
Guessing the thing you painted that made you feel most weird would be the Age of Angra minis from Imagination to Form. Done that a bunch of times.
Anything that made you feel the most weird would be the Age of Angra, from imagination to physical form like that.
Because you've designed a lot of miniatures.
Yeah. No.
weird per se.
Yeah, not weird. It's a strange word, right? Because it doesn't really fit for what we do.
It's very subjective.
I think that weird, for me personally, would be something that really steps outside my normal realm of painting. And like I said, it would be like something true to life. You know, like a portrait or a guy with a suit and tie, or one of those busts that's like
that's super hyper realism.
The one with the girl with the coffee mug or something that isn't something that appeals to me. It's not fantastical. It's just a slice of life thing. That would probably be weird for me because it's not what I look at as being something I want to go paint.
True.
You know.
To be fair though, not a lot of people make busts like that or miniatures like that because of exactly that reason, I think.
Yeah, they don't sell very well. Because the escapism is part of what happens in miniature painting. Now, there is a whole world of miniature painting that is busts and obviously scale models that is more realism. I come from the world of scale models and 1/35th scale military scale modeling, and that was all realism. There wasn't any fantastical stuff, but it was didn't take long before I did my first diorama where I had the old Macross models, right, that were like the Zentradi Walker, which was the Marauder, right, turned into the Marauder. I had one of those as a model, and I had it with like a Russian tank that was done, and it was all done very realistic, you know. So you took the Robotech here in the States, you took the Robotech manga looking stuff, and I made it all weathered like a realistic thing. Like so it looked like you know when the Invasion of Mars, the radio show that he did. What was it called?
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Oh.
It felt very War of the Worlds was my thinking on doing it that way, right? And but it's all escapism to some extent. Have you ever painted an anime figure? No blend between the colors, just straight lines, and the next colors take a place. If you do that kind of, animation style painting, for sure, yeah.
What did you do that on? Thanos or something?
Oh, the little Thanos?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that as a zero blend kind of cell shading thing. I don't know where he is. I feel like some of those models I traveled with and they never made it back here. Oh no,
he's definitely
Chris took them and photoed them and they never made it back.
I think most of them came back.
No, he took a bunch of photos, and I think there's still a bunch of them that are like roundabout, like all over the place over here. I don't remember.
I think he put them all back, or most of them back.
I don't know where Thanos is then.
Chris hid them, and then
Chris stole all my models, and then they made it back to places they weren't supposed to go. It happens. People just take my stuff. He just smiles at me. Damn you! I don't know where it is, but models all over the place up here too, so you could just be hiding behind any one of these.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, okay, Chris took all my models, and guess where the shortest model is?
In the very back.
It's at the very back. And where's the tallest one?
In the front.
At the very front.
I feel like we need to find a better solution for story.
Hey, look, he's the same color as this Timberwolf.
Oh, look, they match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So these things were a step out for me because, it was all, this is done with zero blends. There's no blending on this model at all. Not a single blend on Thanos. Right?
We only have 28 minutes left, Kruger. There's not enough time to count them.
To count what? All the minis? No.
I said I'm scared to ask how many figures are in the room with you now. Lots.
This one we painted and we showed you how to do that. What gives you a visual blend by going in and banding your colors, and you're doing all your blending and your mixes on the palette. And there's absolutely no blending here. All of it is just geometric shapes formed on the model, sketched on the model, and then you place brighter and brighter colors inside those geometric shapes until you get to your final highlight, right? But you get a nice gold. Right. Now this is a weird figure, right? It's a chibi Thanos. I love these models.
It's so good.
I love these models. But we painted a bunch of them with like standard blending too. They're so fun to paint. Love my Captain America. Chibi Cat.
GB cap.
They're a lot of fun. Yeah, Flame On. It's very interesting because it is the same way that Mashik Flame On Miniatures starts his models.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes back and blends all of those
Just
colors
yeah.
together to get that almost, perfect blended surface. For the non-metallic gold on Thanos, if you were to blend, would you blend the brightest highlight into the shadow next to it? Or is that supposed to be a crisp, clean line? It depends. There is time when you're painting non-metallic, even in a blended style, that you get crisp lines between your reflections. It depends on how polished it is. The shinier and more polished an object is, the more crisp the delineation between your colors on it will be, because they tend to be actual reflections of like a linear light bulb and then darkness around it in the environment, things like that. So it gets very technical at that point. But if you're doing something that's more like brushed stainless or aluminum, then you have a blend that goes a lot longer. Basically, the shinier it is, the tighter your blending area becomes, the shorter it goes. Chubby Cap, yeah.
Zazin said, have you ever considered making a line of contrast type paints?
Yeah. We've thought about it. We never say never, but it's kind of like there's good solutions out there for that right now. It doesn't fit into the way we teach painting. So again, I would have to kind of reinvent the wheel and find a way that would make it a paint I would want to use personally.
But we have the glaze and wash medium, which
Yeah, and the glaze and wash medium turns
Oh,
every
I
paint into a
agree.
speed paint. So
Basically,
you have that
right.
as your...
on your own.
It just takes more work. You don't get all the colors made off.
Scale Model Craft said, I see you pausing every few minutes. Do you let it dry to a certain point, or is there an indication you look for to do the next step?
I'm just lazy. When I've been painting with washes, I've been wanting it to dry. Right, I added that last little bit, so I don't want the wetness in there. I can get going again, but most of the time it's just because I'm talking, just yakking. Now we'll go back to bright neutral gray, which is the color we use for the brightest highlight on the metal anyway. The washes definitely take longer to cure. And so you'll find yourself waiting in between layers if you're focusing on that part. I could have gone back and just started painting on the cockpit glass or something like that. But because this model's so big, I feel like I'm banging into areas that have wet wash on them. So it's easier to just leave it alone until it's ready again. As you can see, or what you will see very quickly, is that the bright neutral gray got toned way down when we did the washes over it. First the black wash, then the rust of the flesh. And now we're able to go back with the same color again. And you'll notice we get that really good bright highlight. We won't go over everything, but we'll just pop it into the areas where we want that brightest peak of shine, right? And I don't have to do this step. This is one of those where people say, well, when do you know you're done, right? Well, what quality do you want the miniature to be? I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this guy because it's a big scale. But on most painting, I would have just left it where it was and not even come back and worried about these highlights. And it looks fine. But you can add a little bit more pop to it by getting this contrast back on there. So if you want it to be, if it's a character model or, you know, one of your sergeants in a squad or something like that, then, you know, you go back and you spend a little bit extra time on it. Do these things. You get that nice pop of contrast that draws your eye around to the highlighted metal corners, maybe. And we still have the residual of the previous highlight, which is that vertical there, right? That's now dulled down. So now we have a blended highlight, right? We have a highlight that has multiple stages of brightness to it, which makes it look like we did a ton more work than we really did. This looks like 3 colors of highlight here, a darker gray, a mid-tone gray, and a bright gray, when in reality that's just one bright gray with the wash over it, and then again another pop of the bright gray. So some people look at it and go, why you took 3 steps? But they're 3 very simple, quick steps that make it look like you did a much longer technique, something that had a lot more effort behind it than what we've actually applied.
So when you were talking about, how it would be weird for you to paint like just a normal dude.
Dude in a suit.
Yeah. Blood Walrus has been giving all kinds of suggestions of like paint a businessman, paint an accountant, paint a tax attorney.
Game delay.
And he said, red swing line, the 21st century office skirmish game.
Ha! Red swing line.
Paint
My
your
stapler.
army of chartered accountants to retrieve the almighty stapler from the friends in HR.
My stapler.
Fiends in HR, sorry. Telling you, there's a gold mine of a game in here.
need my stapler. My stapler.
Zaz wants to know if you're going to battle damage the mech.
Yeah. I plan to.
Claire Streets had visited my FLGS last night to grab a couple of the rattle can primer and varnish. They were totally sold out.
Oh no.
While
Love
boo,
to see
but
it.
yay.
Sorry for you, but yes, he said love to see it. Awesome. We love to hear about that, but we don't at the same time.
They have been selling like wildfire at the retailers,
but
for
it
sure.
is exciting to know that stores are doing well with them. Did you dilute the black wash?
Yes, 50-50.
And how often do you throw brushes in the trash can?
Rarely, if ever.
He's got a cup full of old beat up brushes that are good for
Something.
something.
Good for putting that wash on the model that I just did.
Wash, spacing, textures. He does this when he does damage. Sometimes he'll like stipple on there, and that you don't necessarily want a nice brand new brush for that.
Mm-mm.
Did you wash already? I think we wash every day.
This morning?
I can speak for myself. I do.
This morning I did?
Yeah, I did.
See, look at that.
Oh dang. That's all shiny now.
Right? It's a far cry from what it was with just the gray slapped on there willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of washes, and then the only thing I'm really spending any time on are these last little doots of brightness. And these are literally just little dots. Like I'm doot, doot, doot. I'm not painting a lot of lines, right? Because the line's already there from the time we did it before. And so now you get that kind of darkened, gunmetal feel for these parts. Because somebody had asked before, like I did the gray with a really bright highlight to it that seemed garish, because it didn't match. It had too much contrast. And my answer back was yes, but I need to push it that bright when I'm doing the initial layering. So when I put that black wash and the flesh wash for the rust over it, that it doesn't disappear. Because the black wash it darkens everything. And so if you don't do a bright highlighter or really adjust your contrast overboard, then when you put the wash on it, you lose all of what you did. So you might as well not do it at all. And what I was looking for was a mid-tone line to exist when I was done with the wash. And that's what we get here. Dark, yeah. Okay, good. So now you seen it? I just dump a bucket of wash on me every morning. Ugh. That'd be...
shine.
Yeah.
Our Brutal Burrito said, at what point in a painter's journey do you think they start to find their style, in quotes? Or do you think painting style is something new painters get too hung up on?
I do believe that painting style is something new painters get too hung up on.
Yep.
I think those are two questions, not necessarily mutually exclusive. I don't know that it's a bad thing, but I do know that a lot of painters get hung up on that when they probably should not be as focused on that. Because style is a very hard thing to ascertain. What does style mean?
Very subjective.
Right? somebody's going to look at your stuff and say, oh, you paint like so-and-so in that whatever style. A lot of it's, the fact that somebody came up with a kitschy name for a supposed style, whatever. That's all very, like Jen said, very subjective and kind of spur of the moment sometimes, So,
flesh wash for the rest.
So I say, you shouldn't worry about that stuff, number one. Your style will come to you. One day you'll just kind of be like, you know what I tend to do? Like when people ask me what's my style, and I go, I guess my style is just kind of very free form, play with the paint. See what happens. And then go from there.
For me, eventually you start to kind of just notice trends in the way that you like to paint. So, like for me, I tend to really like to use bright, vibrant colors. You don't find me painting in the like grim dark style super often. I tend to like this sort of stuff. Like I just have really bright, vibrant, saturated colors. Like another good example is you look at your Horus versus my Horus.
Yeah. My
Horus has really warm gold, bright, vibrant colors, and yours is much more subdued and darker. Those are
mine is. I would say that mine is more true to his traitorous black self.
No.
Yeah. That black heart, traitorous, dingy. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
100%.
Couldn't possibly be.
You gave him way too much character.
Look at this guy. He's just loving life.
Hey, Kruger, the glove is largely going to be probably to prevent the paint from rubbing off from the oil on your skin. But some people might wear them because they don't want to get paint on their hands, like if they're spraying. So there's no right or wrong. I think it's just preference again. I call my style the ugly phase never ends. No.
Not how it works, guys. It's not how it works.
Said I call my style grim, dark, lazy panther.
I like it. Maybe that's my style too.
Yeah, the best is when other people tell you what. The best is when other people tell you what your style is. That seems natural.
Well, they're just doing comparisons,
Yeah.
right? They're like, you paint like so and so.
Yep.
And especially, see, my pinky's all twitching now. They're learning about all this, and they hear grimdark or Blanchitsu or all these names that people make up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just another thing that I think people get really hung up on. Just paint.
Yeah, it's like you will have preferences for how you like to apply paint to the model and what colors that you like to use. Those things all become part of your quote-unquote style, right? But they aren't what define you as a painter, because if you are painting stuff, you can always paint different ways. It's just the natural way that you.
Well, that's the thing that I look at is I'm like my painting style depends on what model I'm painting.
Yeah.
Because I can do like the cartoony style, like that Thanos, and be equally as home with that and comfortable as doing something like what we're doing now, or we're painting, a bunch of Space Marines.
Are you replicating that same for a lot?
No, there's something about the shine that I was able to get on this model, and I've been trying to identify why, to my eyes, I haven't been able to get it on this one, and it was a lack of contrast in the darker parts of the model. Because like I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, the value is pretty comparable on parts of the model. Then what is it that's causing this to look so much more reflective than this? And it's the peak highlights are brighter in comparison to the things immediately around it, and then also this has really dark lines between the panels, which is why I started doing that again. So I started with the panels first because it's the easiest thing to change.
Kruger, don't apologize for asking questions.
We love it.
I always say around here, there are no dumb questions if they're real questions. So if it's something you truly don't know and you're trying to seek the answer, it's not a dumb question.
I think of it
Don't
like
ever
this.
hesitate
You're
to
creating all of our
ask.
content, so thank you.
Yeah.
We like answering questions.
That's why we're here. The new robot is female coded, and pro meth Gandalf is risen her up.
What the heck?
I only understand about half of that. I just wanted to say rizzing her up.
Oh, Riz, as
Yeah.
in charisma.
Yeah.
Charisma. Kids these days.
Yep. Yep.
$3.49.
Yeesh.
Oh.
I think the other thing that I'm running into with this, I'm using a lot of color when painting this silver. So I'm trying to try a bunch of new things here and experimenting with color in places where I wouldn't normally. Instead of doing something simple like just like a Payne's gray and something else workup, bright pale yellow or what have you. Trying to really like go crazy with the color is just something that's fun to do, but it's something I'm not as familiar with doing for a non-metallic metal, so it takes a little bit longer to figure it out. You guys have seen the process of the trial and error, where I go through and figure out what's working well and what's not working well. I think the butt is too bright, for instance, down here. Feels a lot brighter than the top
This
part.
guy's butt is too bright.
The butt is too bright, Jason. The butt is too bright.
Shiny butt.
Shiny butt.
Shiny buns. I
How's
see
that
your
sound?
hiney.
I see
All
you.
nice and shiny. If you don't hide it, I'm gonna
Bite it.
bite it.
Okie dokie there.
As in, Jason has watched The Penguin. Did you finish it?
I have not seen if there's new episodes, which I think there are. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
It's been a while since he watched it.
Keep forgetting. Should have watched it last night. What a song. Paint Liquor, I Got You, man. Serenades. Serenades by Jason.
No singing, no dancing.
Hey, I make the rules.
Yeah. And you said no singing, no dancing.
I sang Happy Birthday, Mr. President to whoever's birthday it was.
Yeah.
Well, did you sing it to Cody?
I do what I want. I told Cody Happy Birthday.
But you didn't sing to him.
No. I don't know if he's ready for that.
The man does theater. I think he's doing just fine on being ready for anything.
Well, that is a good point.
If anybody in here at this fine office that we have that could roll with the punches, probably be that guy.
I never want to assume.
Well, you know what they say about assuming.
Why don't do it, Jordan? Do you ever pay attention to me?
I do. All the time. Well, most of the time. This is, in fact, one of those times.
Casparian, it was Flesh Wash. And he did it on this stream, so you can go back and check it out. Brutal Burrito said, any tips for painting with a limited palette? My LGS has a painting competition every quarter using Procryl where you draw 5 paints one at a time and then you have 3 hours to paint your mini.
Oh,
I've done that before.
that
Sounds
like
cool.
fun.
It's fun.
Paint drafts are nice.
I mean,
I was gonna
as
say,
far
any
as
tips?
yeah, I was about to say we should probably answer this question.
Oh, there was a question there?
Yeah, it was.
Any tips
Are there
for
any
painting?
tips for painting?
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple of things because you got to pick, right?
Yeah. Well,
So-
they drafted, so maybe blind or maybe.
Well, yeah,
that
because
they
the one
picked-
we did was you had to pull the bottles out of a bag. You couldn't see them, I don't think.
Okay.
And everyone got black and white.
So there's a couple of things that I would think about. Like if I were to just grab 5 random paints. So 1,
We did this
2,
for a painting
3,
challenge a while back
4, 5.
for a Discord challenge.
So
Oh,
if-
okay. So Brutal Burrito already knows the colors:
oh
burnt orange, dark purple, camel green, ivory, and neutral gray.
oh
So
okay.
There
Well, we
you
can
go.
talk about that then.
is this cheating?
Is this cheating?
This feels like cheating.
This might be cheating. If I use your colors. Burnt orange, dark purple, camo green, ivory, and neutral gray. Brutal Burrito, I must know if this is cheating.
Feels like cheating. Maybe just use your.
No, the
oh,
comp already happened?
Oh,
Awesome. Not cheating. Okay, let's pull those colors. Burnt orange.
oh. So this is for your last one. So they're gonna do it again. When's the next one?
Dark purple. Camo green.
Phone a friend.
Ivory.
Paint liquor won't tell.
And neutral gray. For your palette. It's interesting. So you
You
have
got 5 minutes,
ivory,
Jordan.
which is great, huh?
It's, you got 5 minutes.
I know. I'm thinking about it as I'm putting these back and kind of processing out loud. So you have a nice spread of colors, right? So you have a green, a blue, and something that could
Mhm.
potentially sort of be a red.
Those 3 colors look good.
You have a neutrally gray color, and then you have a white color that's like an off-white. So you can kind of do almost anything with this palette. Like you could make skin tones out of this using a combination of mostly burnt orange with some ivory, and then adding a little bit of camo green and dark purple to balance it out a little bit more. That would be a really good skin tone. Skin tones, as a starting point, generally I always go with starting from like a peach color is a really easy way to kind of find your starting point. So using like an orange and a white or pale white or something like that will work really well. And then you want to add greens and you want to add blues to it, and you'll eventually come up with a really nice skin tone. And then, I mean, from there, if you're, it kind of depends on what the model is, right? So, what model were you painting?
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Creature from the Black. Jeez. Isn't that what everybody paints, Jason?
I mean, yeah. If I had my choice, that's all I'd ever paint.
It was a Viking from the game Blood Rage. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you got the skin tone sort of worked out. You could use the camo greens and the dark purples to kind of be like a. You could add a bunch of white to them to make like a brighter pale cloth color. Leather is fairly straightforward. You mix burnt orange and camo green, you'll get a nice kind of deep brownish color. that then you could adjust with a little bit of the ivory to brighten up. And then if you want metallic and things like that, you have neutral gray, ivory, and dark purple is a great way to kind of build up a non-metallic gold or non-gold silver. And then you can add a little bit of brown or green to it if you want to add a little bit of like coolness or warmth back to the silver. Or if you want like trees in the background and stuff like that, you can add a lot of environmental color with these too. Golds will be difficult. Anything kind of in that yellow range is going to be sort of out of reach, just because of the burnt orange. You might be able to cheat by adding a touch. Let me try something really quick. Add a little bit on my palette. I wonder if you can kind of cheat out something that resembles yellow with the orange and the camo green with a little bit of ivory. Let me see here. Not really. You just kind of get mud. Interesting mud. Yeah, I would stay away from anything that's yellow. So don't put any gold or anything on there. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of figuring out what the limitations of the palette are, right? Like knowing that yellow is probably not a great place to go because you don't really have anything that really screams yellow. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend. Make good choices. No. Behave yourself. No. Make lots of money. No. Okay, he's gonna be broke when he comes back.
What's he doing?
I don't know. I just was making fun of him. Remember, he's probably gonna play his video game all weekend.
Oh.
So I told him to make lots of money.
And chop lots of wood.
And chop lots of wood. By not playing the game.
Yeah.
By not playing the game.
It's annoying as hell.
The best mix I learned was that 2 parts burnt orange to 1 part camo green to 1 part dark purple makes a really nice brown. Yep. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about doing these weird limited color palette challenges, right? Is you are forced to get really creative with making weird colors. You're like, I got these 5 colors. I don't really have any other options. Time to figure something out. They're like, okay, how do I make a skin tone? And then you start with, the closest thing that you can find to it. And then going from there. Or you're like, all right, how do I make a nice blue out of this? Like, I don't know. Gotta run. See you later, Scale Model Craft. Great to see ya.
See you, Scale.
It's an interesting palette. It's very dark. That whole range of colors is quite low in value. Except for the ivory, obviously, and a little bit of this burnt orange. But limited palette challenges are cool. Bright pale green. Very cool color. I don't use this color enough.
What's that?
The bright pale green.
Awesome.
Yeah. It has this weird, like, vibrancy and intensity to it that I was looking at my array of colors here over the side, and I was like, this would be kind of perfect for a nice saturated bright highlight. That's right. It's awesome. How's your robot coming over there?
Not a robot.
It's a robot. Well, it's not a robot, is it? It's a mech.
It's a mech. And good. I'm really liking the metallic.
Cool.
Coming together pretty well. It's just like I said before, it's like millions of miles of freaking edge highlighting. As soon as I think I'm done, I edge all the same stuff again. But such is the life of painting things metallic.
It's a vehicle of destruction. I mean, that's not technically wrong. It is a vehicle. You ride in it. It's mechanical in origin. And it does lots of damage to things. I would always make a color chart by mixing every color 50-50 to see what comes out. Also, you get new ideas to mix further. That's a great idea, Cordell. It's actually very cool to do that. You learn a lot about what colors mix with what and how to make weird colors that you weren't expecting. Very, very cool. To yourself, too, if your alpha goes kaboom easily. Well, if I recall, the last Battletech game that you guys played, didn't Philip dome Gabe's
Gabe
mech?
domed Philip.
Oh, the other way around.
Then Philip domed Gabe back, but Philip didn't roll the crit. Gabe rolled the crit and killed the pilot. So Phil's model had taken 10 points of damage and then died. He had a Marauder. He had a Marauder against it was 2 PPCs versus 2 PPCs is what it was. They were just trading PPC shots back and forth. They missed a bunch early on. Gabe completely missed Phil in the first turn of shooting. Phil hit and did like 10 or some odd points of damage back to Gabe. The next turn, Gabe fired and I think missed his first, but his second hit. Then he crit, like a through armor crit. And then rolled for the crit and then hit the pilot and blew him up.
Oh no!
Or no, he didn't even crit. It was just that he hit the head with 10 points of damage, which automatically goes internal on the head because all heads only have 9 points.
That's so good.
So if you hit a head with a headshot with a PPC, you're pretty much doomed. So yeah, that's what happened.
Poor Philip.
Yeah. So then we let Philip bring another one. He brought in a Hatchetman. So Philip got to play 2 mechs.
He got to play 2. No,
he got to play 2 games.
He didn't get to
mechs
play 2 mechs. He had to play 2 mechs.
He played 2 mechs that game. So everybody else has won.
Oh my goodness! It's Chair Guy.
But I won that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah!
We put a goal in the middle.
Chair go. No chair camera.
Did Christopher break it before he left?
Well, you got to sit in the right one.
No, it's like I'm pushing all the buttons and none of them are working.
Oh.
See, I do this one and it just puts a little frame around it.
Oh, the camera's turned off probably.
Oh.
Christopher's been messing with all the cameras.
Oh.
That guy.
Well, Chair Guy is here. You guys will have to take our word for it.
Hi, Chair Guy.
His microphone does work.
We
So
can
you'll
get
at least
disembodied
get to hear
voice at least.
his voice.
Hello.
Penderbomb says he painted a Hatchetman last night. Yeah, he brought in a Hatchetman. We set an objective in the middle of the table. That objective was a downed mech because one of my mechs got broken when I pulled it out of the case at the shop where we were playing. So I went ahead and went with it and had the broken mech be the downed mech on the field, and we made it to where the objective was to go. You had to stand in a hex next to that mech for 2 full turns of no action.
Oh, wow.
And I survived.
Wow.
Because Jacob was shooting me and missed a lot.
You got 2 free turns. I could not see you over the walls.
Oh, yeah. He refused to come in and engage me. He had a chance to, but he didn't. And then he and I just duked it out like face to face the rest of the game.
Jeez.
I jumped into his back arc and missed with nearly everything.
Oh, no.
He just turned around and we shook hands or bumped fists on just standing still and not doing anything. So we stood 1 hex away from each other with no negatives and wailed on each other.
Oh, my gosh.
And then did it again another turn in another spot of the map until finally Jacob blew up.
And then Jason wins.
Yeah, and of course, Gabe was over there firing PPCs at Phil the whole time.
Why does it not surprise me in the slightest that those two were just shooting at each other the whole game?
Yeah.
While you guys were playing a completely different game over here.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Oh, those
The kids who played
guys.
Battletech would 100% tried to do a charge attack on the stationary mech. It was over a riverbed and up at level. Like we were on 2 crags with a river in between us, so you couldn't charge. You could have tried to jump, but that's never worthwhile.
That's never a good idea.
Phil tried to smack Gabe with his hatchet once or twice, but that didn't work very well. Physical damage in Battletech is brutal. Very, very brutal.
This is hard to do.
It's just hard to do.
Gosh,
Because you got to run pilot skill checks on it instead of...
4,981 people, inviting 19 people to the Discord so we can get to 5K already.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been looking at it every day.
We've
check and
slowly been
see.
creeping up there. They would have tried
there.
death from above in that case. That's the only idiots try to death from above. It never works. It's always glorious in its failure, is the way death from above works. Oh, Defrost is like, death from above is always the best approach. You're one of those guys. You're like, I want to go out with a bang. I want to land, fail my pilot check, and be prone for the rest of the game. Blow my legs up. Give him the Highlander funeral. It always sounds so good and does no damage.
It sounds so good and ends up doing nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Just turns out. Kicking is good. You use it when a mech is already about to die. Ghost Hunter says all this Battletech talk is making me want to buy another star tomorrow. I mean, who's to stop you?
It's not gonna be us.
I can send one to you.
Goodness.
I have an
you
entire
have
case full
a
of Battletech mechs I will never use because I don't play Filthy Clanners. Your death from above and thought of Starship Troopers? I don't have any legs, Lieutenant Dan. Handy Bob bought a full lance. What'd you buy? Individuals or did you buy one of the box sets? Eridani Light Horse? Northwind Highlanders? Assault Lance? Why paint a Timby if you don't play Clanners? Because this one's not for playing. This one's the big one. And it's too cool of a model to pass up. But I don't play Filthy Clanners. I've got a bunch of Inner Sphere mechs, though. I have an entire battalion of Inner Sphere mechs. Right?
Oh, God, I love those models. You killed it on those, by the way.
Carry On's Wayward Sons.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Get it? So yeah, we've got a entire battalion. I've got 4 regiments plus a command lance of mechs painted up in my Wayward Sons.
All right, I put the links up.
All right. That's it, folks.
City Tech.
It's time for us to close it
Casperian
down.
100mm scale games are good. I would play it, dude. If mechs were all this size, that'd be great. There were people that would, for the longest time before Catalyst took over the property, they would print out, because you could get, either people that had the STLs you could print out from the MechWarrior Online game, and they printed out these big ones, and they were playing these huge games where the hexes were huge. Hunchback, favorite mech. AC-20s for your face. Filthy freeborn trash need to stop besmirching the honor of the clans. That's what Jen is going to say at her lunch with her friends. Filthy freeborn trash.
Filthy freeborn trash.
God. The way you
I
say
love
it
it.
too is so funny.
She can't be mean.
It's what it's yeah.
Burn
It's
the
like
heretics with a
upbeat-
smile.
It's like upbeat.
Jen's
and-
the scariest one you'll meet because she says all these things with
That's
just
right.
a brilliant smile on her face the whole time. Like filthy
Like,
freeborn trash.
You filthy clanners. You filthy clanners, you.
Avian, thank you guys and gals for hanging out. Your friends and I put together a Bandai models in 1989. They were about 10 inches tall. Oh yeah, they're great, right? The old like Dougram models. Perfect woman, doesn't it? I got her. She's mine. She's mine. She's in a Space Marine form someplace. I don't remember where that model
I
is.
do.
Oh,
She's
it's over
we
there
have the
somewhere.
Space Marine one that is the reason why there's the burn the heretics statement, because it was she was asking what she was doing on the model, and I said burning the heretics, and she goes, "Oh great, I'm burning the heretics."
I have one married sister. Sorry, she's taken.
She's taken.
That's Jen burning the heretics.
Yep.
Look, her
that's
hair
it.
is exactly like that right now,
That's
except it's
true.
blonde
Well,
instead of the
yeah, it's
dark
not-
and the purple.
It's not purple.
That's Jen burning the heretics.
I have not.
And
changed,
it's the-
not changed my hair significantly in like 20 years.
It's
so.
the Rainbow Unicorns chapter.
Rainbow Unicorns chapter.
Burn the filthy
Possibly
heretics.
inappropriate. Indeed.
Burn the filthy heretics.
Nothing like being down in the mud and Jen pops over the hill with a flamer. Filthy freeborn trash.
Filthy freeborn trash.
Amazing.
In her elemental suit. All right, gang, take us out.
All right, everyone. Jen has so kindly placed a bunch of links into chat for you guys to check out. Make sure you click on all of them. Don't you miss a single one. They're very important. They include things like places to find all of the wonderful Procrit. Well, not that particular bottle. We shouldn't show them the wizards, but all of our fantastic paints that we make right here in Arizona. You can find them on the first link, which is our website, and then the second link, our FLGS locator. You can find local game stores that carry them near you. Also, make sure you guys join the Discord. We gotta get to 5,000.
19
We're so
more people.
Close.
Tell your friends.
So close. Tell
If you
your
haven't
friends.
joined.
Tell everybody to join. We're
We
gonna
don't
do some
spam
fun
you that
stuff.
much. You get an alert every day when we go live. That's it.
Yes.
You can turn it
Also,
off.
You can mute that.
You can mute it. Turn it off.
Lots of fun people on there doing nerd stuff, hanging out. It's great. And then check out our YouTube. You can find all of our past live streams as well as all of our tutorial video content that we don't do here directly on stream. And don't forget to join us next week, Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we're going to find somebody to raid so you guys can enjoy the rest of your Friday evening with some more hobbying goodness.
Yep.
A few people painting. I'm not sure who will raid, but we'll find someone good
yeah.
for you.
We'll
Have
find
a
some
wonder.
fun-
I don't think Kenny's streaming.
It's a
It's a tournament.
tournament.
Yeah, he went to San Diego.
Yeah.
He's on, but it's tournament. He's on.
I have a suggestion.
So everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.